Right now, 8.4 million people in Britain are claiming benefits. That's the highest number in this country's entire history. And last year, Britain spent more on welfare than it collected from every worker's income tax combined. Which leaves one very uncomfortable question. Who is actually paying for all of this? Because here's the thing nobody in power wants to say to your face. It's you. Every month, a little more of your payslip quietly disappears to prop up a system growing faster than the country can afford. But the story you've been told about who's really taking that money, it's wrong. And once you see the real numbers, you'll finally understand why your taxes keep climbing, no matter who you vote for. So let's start with the number that's fueling all the outrage. Right now, 8.4 million people are on universal credit. 4 years ago, it was 5.5 million. That's a jump of nearly 3 million people in a country that supposedly wasn't even in a recession. And here's the figure that ends up on every front page. Around half of them, roughly 4 million people, sit in a category called no work requirements, meaning they're not expected to look for a job at all. 4 million people not required to work. Read that back, and it sounds like a country that's simply given up. But wait, before you type something furious in the comments, look closer, because that number is hiding the truth as much as it's telling it. For a start, 4 in every 10 people on universal credit already have a job. They're working right now. The benefit just tops up wages too low to actually survive on in modern Britain. And that no work requirements group everyone loves to point at, it isn't an army of people dodging work. It's pensioners, students, parents with a newborn, and people who are seriously, genuinely ill. So the image in your head, millions choosing the sofa over a job, is a story someone sold you. The reality is messier and far more human. But here's where it stops being abstract and starts hitting your bank account. Last year, Britain spent around £333 billion on welfare. And to put that in perspective, that is more than the entire country raised in income tax. Every single pound taken from every worker in Britain. And the welfare bill was still bigger. Sit with that for a second. Now, when that fact hit the news, it absolutely exploded. For the first time in history, Britain's death spiral. Except, and this is the part they conveniently left out, it isn't true. And this is exactly the kind of lie this channel exists to take apart. Because the fact checkers looked at it, so did the Institute for Fiscal Studies, and the truth is, welfare has been bigger than income tax almost every year for over a decade. It's not new, and it's already forecast to flip back next year. So why is the number so enormous? Because welfare doesn't mean the unemployed. The single biggest slice of that entire bill isn't job seekers at all. It's the state pension. So the next time someone tells you your taxes are funding people who won't work, remember that most of that money goes to pensioners, the disabled, and working families. The headline was built to make you angry. The truth is quieter, and it matters far more. And this next part, it's the exact argument that splits British families in two at the dinner table. On one side, the case is simple and genuinely powerful. 8 million on benefits, taxes at their highest in a generation, a bill that never stops growing. And it's ordinary working people footing it. So shrink the system, they say. On the other side, the case is just as serious. They say, look closer. As a share of the economy, welfare spending has barely moved in years. And you cannot cut it without hitting pensioners, disabled people, and children. From that view, the problem isn't too much welfare. It's an economy that stopped growing, and a nation getting older and sicker. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Both sides are staring at the exact same country. They just refuse to see the same picture. But forget the politics for a second, because underneath all the shouting, there's a piece of maths that doesn't care who you vote for. And once you understand it, your payslip will never look the same again. When more people lean on the state and fewer people are working and paying in, the sums can only ever balance 3 ways. You raise taxes, you cut services, or you borrow and pay interest on that debt forever. Britain is quietly doing all 3 at once. The country now spends over £100 billion a year just on the interest on its debt. That's more than it spends on every school in the entire nation. So when your wages stretch a little thinner every single year, this is why. You're not just paying for yourself. You're one of a shrinking group of workers holding up a growing group who aren't working at all. And that is what makes those 1 million young people so dangerous for all of us. Not because they're lazy, but because every one of them who never starts working isn't just a missing wage. They're one more person the rest of us have to carry, and one fewer person helping to carry the load. A country can run like that for a while, but not forever. Sooner or later, the people holding it all up get tired. So I want your honest answer. Is Britain's welfare system too generous, or is it a safety net that working people quietly depend on too? And who do you actually blame for the bill? The people claiming it, the politicians, or an economy that stopped working? Tell me below, and keep it civil, because both sides are watching this one. Subscribe to Britain Unraveled, because next time we follow the money even further to find out exactly where your taxes really go.